We're live. It says we're live.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Danter Banter with the fabulous and wonderful and absolutely terrific Tim Danter.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I'm going to pass the hat along. We're going to do little collections tonight in the audience. We need to get back to McDonald's, and I don't. You know what I don't see there, which they used to have on that, but it's at the bottom, and I don't think you can see it on the bottom. Free smiles.
Yeah, I think smiles now are $1.50, but I could be wrong on that.
Well, Tim Hortons has actually taken them over in their smile cookies, so now you got to pay for them either way. But anyway,
my background, everybody, just so you guys know, this is what the prices were at McDonald's in the 70s. So you could get a quarter pounder with cheese for 70 cents.
Oh my God.
I don't even know how much one is today, but I know it's not 70 cents.
I don't either. It's incredible. I mean, I never liked the quarter pounder growing up. I was always the Big Mac guy and the fries, and I always liked the cherry. Oh, they got the apple pie. They don't have the cherry pie there.
I thought they had the cherry pie at one point.
They did, but they don't have it up behind you.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Look at that. Is that coffee 15 cents?
Yeah.
Holy
I gotta move over this way. Yeah. Coffee 15 cents. Pie 26 cents. French fries 26 cents.
Unbelievable.
Holy banana bread.
And if you go to the other way, what's that say?
Shakes.
Oh, fillet of fish. Is that a fillet of fish?
Yeah, there's a fillet of fish down there, and it's like really cheap. It's like 20 cents or something. Or no, 48 cents for the fillet of fish.
Do you know how much they cost now?
No.
A fin. For those of you who don't get that, a fin is worth $5. Well, So what have you been up to? Same old, different day?
Yeah, it's always the same thing. Just getting around, watching the news, lots of stuff going on, and
there is. Yeah. You're getting up there. You're last time I looked, 966.
Who's at 966?
You.
No, I'm at 983.
What?
Yeah.
I just looked. It was 966.
Well, it's 983 now.
Maybe I didn't refresh. Oh my God, you're getting so close.
It's getting there.
Oh, you know what? You're gonna have to go on Ken's stream, and Oh,
I'm not gonna do it on Ken's stream. I'm gonna actually, and I'm not doing it on my stream because, let's face it, my stream is a little bit too elegant for. Well, it's not that elegant, but it's just an inch elegant more than having a drunk stream on it. So I'm going to do it on I have my regular YouTube channel that I don't really use, Candace Mountain. We're just going to do it on that.
There you go.
I'll throw the links everywhere so people can come and see me get silly.
Oh my God! They're saying quarter pounder is $7.39 for. Is that a QC for?
That's yeah.
Oh, in Quebec.
In Quebec, holy banana bread
for the burger. Neeks, which burger are we talking? McDonald's or Mickey D's, or are we talking just at another burger joint? That's incredible.
It's like you almost need to pass a credit check just to go in their drive-through.
I mean, I can very easily take cardboard, put salt on it, fry it, put some cheese on it, and give it away.
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't know. I don't know the last time I've had a McDonald's. I can't tell you. I don't. They don't agree with me. Neither does A&W for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I know even when I was, a big connoisseur of fast food, I always preferred Burger King myself.
Yes. And they had good shakes.
Mm-hmm. Shakes.
And the onion rings. They had onion rings. That's what I loved about them. They weren't, I look at the onion rings that I tasted today and go, what the hell was I even thinking about? But I mean, back then.
Well, it's funny because one of my earliest jobs as a teenager was working at Burger King.
Oh, yeah?
And it used to be great. Every time I saw the manager coming towards me near the end of my shift, I know it was to ask me to stay later. I loved money, so I was going to stay later, but I was going to work it too. So it'd be like, oh, can you stay a little bit later? And I'll be like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. And then he'd be like, I'll throw in a free meal. All right, I'll stay.
Get comped out, right?
Exactly.
So Neek said it is $7.39 at McDonald's in Quebec.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I guess if I'm going to go to McDonald's, I'm going to go on the Ottawa side. But I don't even know what the price is here, so it could be just as bad. I honestly don't know.
That's ridiculous. And anyway, the thumbnail tonight had a picture of the economy. and then it had 2 Band-Aids on it, and it's like, because I, as I said to you, sort of in the pre email that we did this, or I sent out this morning or whatever it was, I said, you've got CNBC saying the inflation rate, the inflation's over, we're now starting to recoup, and then you've got the other people saying that the inflation here in Canada is maxed out, it's not going anywhere, and then you have other people saying inflation's still rocking and rolling. We haven't even hit a formal recession yet, and
well, the recession
this is the prelude to a recession, I would assume.
The recession is pretty much almost certain. I mean, look at it this way. Ask yourself this question. If we were truly recovering, would the Fed today have raised the basis points by another 75 basis points? Would they have raised that hike? No, they wouldn't. They would have eased off a bit. So no. Here's the thing. When you're looking at inflation, a lot of people are looking at that big, at the CPI number, but you really got to look at the core. And the reason for that is right now, just because of all of the crap going on with oil, all of the oil being released from the strategic reserves, that has killed the price of oil, which is pulling down a lot of these prices and making it look a lot better than it really is. When you look at the core is still going up. It hasn't peaked yet. It hasn't hit the top yet. So we're not out of this boat yet, we don't even have land in sight.
Do we have any idea of when this reserve of oil is sort of going to run its course, and then all of a sudden now we're going to be back in the same pickle? Because obviously it's reflecting the price of gas, and it's giving us a false read, really. It's giving us a false sense. Coincidentally, here we are coming into October, and what's in November? I forgot something going on in November.
The primaries. That's
what it is. Yes.
Once the primaries are over, you will see the U.S. stop pumping out those reserves, and they're going to start buying oil because they're going to need to replenish the reserves. The price will be nice and low at that point. They're going to buy a lot of oil. The reserves aren't going to be coming out. It's going to be basically you're changing the direction from an output to an input. And that's when you're going to see oil start to fly back up again. And that's when it's going to start getting expensive to drive and heat your homes and all of that fun stuff.
Right as winter hits, right as Christmas hits, right as, and what timing when people, I think
here's the thing though, just let me interrupt for 1 second.
Yeah.
When they flip that switch after the primaries, there's a delay for you to see it. So you're not really going to see it through the Christmas season. You're going to see it around the beginning of the new year. That's when it'll really, really start to impact us. So, yeah, so January and February, those might be months that if you don't have the money for heat, you're going to at least hope you've got some Arctic parka or something to wear in your house.
And that can kind of trickle into like the first couple of months or at least the first quarter, because here's what's happening. People we're getting back to a somewhat normal festive season, normal, normality is what we're kind of getting back to, right? So people are, I don't know, if people feel good about themselves and they're going to not release the purse strings, but they're going to be a little bit more generous and a little bit more giving and so on and so forth, and have a better time this year because of the freedom. And then all of a sudden this hits, and then all of a sudden they have to think, oh my God, now taxes and all this and that. And it's just going to all muddle together, because they're saying, what are they saying? Second quarter is when we probably will hit that recession.
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, the U.S. may already be in one, and that's the thing. By the time they declare a recession, you're almost out of the recession. Keep that in mind. Because they normally don't declare a recession until you're well into it. It's just the way it works. But for the holiday season, here's the thing. Even with a recession looming, the fact that this is the first holiday season that people are free to travel, they're free to see all of their loved ones, that alone is going to cause people to spend more than they probably should be spending this year. Now, if you're smart, you would try to have a frugal Christmas. And I know how difficult that can be, because I love Christmas just as much as everybody else. But, don't try to go overboard this year if you can, because your pocketbook will definitely like you a little bit better when the poo hits the fan in the new year.
Yep. No, I know. It's unfortunate that we have to, we kind of get feeling good about ourselves, and all of a sudden there's something there to knock us down. for most people, because we are not the rich. We are not that top 1%. You know, and we do have to worry about money, and we do have to worry about, you know, Ken's not here because he's working again. You know, like it was a heck of a, you know, mess for him to go back to, apparently. But I was talking to, was it this stream last week, or maybe it was his stream, and I said, you know, you put in a lot of overtime and stuff like that, and at the end of it, when it comes in, it's like not a lot to show.
No, I think in Ken's situation, what I would be recommending is that, I know he's mostly in crypto, but he should start looking at maybe jump into Wealthsimple and start putting some of that money into an RRSP to pull that income down.
Well, he's got stuff through his union.
Yeah, well, he does, but he's going to want to add extra to his RRSP to bring down his income. So that way there, yes, the government's taking all of that taxes, but he'll get a lot of it back that way.
Yeah.
And then some year where the overtime is not as plentiful as candy in a kid's store, those are the years that he can then, you know, not contribute that much to the RRSP. But this would be probably an ideal year, I think, for Ken to be hitting that up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, personal choice, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But I mean, I've started to actually in that Shakepay get some rewards back for having a larger balance in my Shakepay account.
Okay. Oh, the CAD part.
Yep. And it's funny. I had to go to a tech store today because I had to get a couple of cords for going out west and stuff like that. And I've gone to this, you know, my son and I have gone to this place near us in Oakville here for years. And today I went and I looked in the window and it says, "We sell Bitcoin." It was like, oh, this is going to be good. Go in. So, and I'm looking and I said, I need this cord. And I said, where can I buy some Bitcoin? And she goes, oh, and I guess they're gift cards you buy or something like that. She goes, oh, our provider bailed on us. And I went, oh.
Bitcoin gift card. Very interesting.
I don't know. But she says, oh, I've got Shakepay. And I said, and are you using the Visa for Shakepay to get Satoshis? I never knew that. I said, Jesus, Murphy. I said, I'm making away like a bandit right now just because of the price, because I'm doing two $10 DCAs morning and evening.
Right.
And I think I'm gonna crack, probably by the end of this year, I will probably crack 0.01 of a Bitcoin.
Okay. That's not bad.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Right now, I mean, I just have, you know, our Bitcoin's just sitting on the hardware wallet, not moving it. I mean, it is tempting when the Bitcoin price, whenever we get these little pumps up to like 23,000 or so, it's tempting to go in there, sell the whole thing, and then buy back the Bitcoin at 18.
Yeah.
But I know my luck when you're dealing with that amount of money, my luck would be the time I do it is the time Bitcoin decides to keep going up.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of those things, but.
Well, I know, and I got something in here, and it says BTC drops to prices not seen since 2020. So it looks like it dropped it says, now I don't know how recent this is. This email just came in. It says Bitcoin drops below 18.5 USD.
Yeah, I think it's at 18.4 right now.
And it says, and currently sitting at 18.4.
Yeah. Yeah, good old, but well, Bitcoin though, keep in mind too, Bitcoin is one of these things that when the American dollar goes up, the price of Bitcoin goes, well, it sort of moves with that as well. So it's just one of these things when the American dollar goes down, the price of Bitcoin, of course, becomes more valuable. And so it works in that direction. So today, after the Fed meeting, the American dollar got a pump, so it went up. So that's why you saw like a drop in commodities. And as always, even though the market had priced in the 75 basis points, the S&P took a big, massive, quick tumble right after the meeting. I know I was sitting on an inverse ETF and made about $500 in the process. So I was just like, okay, there we go. Made 500,
Jesus,
got out. It's like, there we go. That's my day's work.
man.
So that was like $500 in quite literally 15 minutes. But, you know, that's just one of those things. It's like sometimes.
That's good. That's really good.
But you really need to know what the market's going to do.
Well, that's it. And I was thinking on my big walk today, I was thinking about something that someone said, a gentleman on Ken's stream on the weekend, about, you know, the fiat is just, you know, devalue. And, you know, if a time comes that it doesn't have much worth, what does have worth and how do we trade that? Like, and they of course, you always go, well, you know, the Maxis might say, well, it's Bitcoin, and other people may say it's ETH, and other people may say it's gold or it's silver, or what the case is. And I think a lot of it is speculation, because I don't know that we really know. I mean, it's the best guess, and I think it's probably whatever the people above publicly put out there and start the buzz about, that will just catch on and say, oh, well, I guess they're saying it, so this is what we're going to trade in, and this is what it is, right? So I guess whatever they decide is what it's going to be, but it's obviously going to be something to their advantage, whether that's gold, whether that's silver.
Well, I'll tell you what I would like to investigate in. I wouldn't mind investigating into some of those barrels of maple syrup they have at the Strategic Reserve in Quebec.
What?
They have a strategic maple syrup reserve. Barrels and barrels and barrels of maple syrup. And a barrel of maple syrup goes for like $150 roughly, compared to a barrel of oil. It's much more expensive.
I got nothing.
I know. I was just like surprised when I heard it, but I'm like, what? We have a strategic reserve of maple syrup? But we do.
I
Go figure, huh?
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup. And I mean, I don't know if that's just like, you know, we keep the pancakes flowing in years where the maple syrup's not flowing good. I don't know.
I just don't
we do
know.
have it.
Yeah. I don't know what anyway.
Yeah, just look it up. Just Google it after the show, and you'll be surprised. I mean, like, we're talking about a giant warehouse, and there was, and get this, there was a crime there where it was an inside job where they were trying to steal maple syrup. They were stealing barrel and barrel, and they were replacing them with barrels of water, but they got caught, and maple syrup got recovered. But
oh my God, did that dilute the price?
I don't know. I don't think you can like actually invest straight in maple syrup. There might be some maple syrup companies maybe out there.
What the fuck?
But, you know, there's
of all things, man. Of all things.
Of
all things, that is the weirdest thing that I okay, I've learned something here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So just as a pause, we've got 12 people here. I don't know. I know I said it on Ken's show, but I will just take a pause and tell you about a scary thing that happened to me on the weekend. So I went down Saturday morning I dropped Nancy at the airport bright and early, went down to my son's condo in Toronto, and as I'm coming up and I'm 1 block away from his condo, I pulled into the Petro Canada station. Petro Canada station's on Spadina, and it was like bubbling water coming out of the pavement. So you, of course, blown water main, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, well, I got to get gas. So I went around, it came in. As I pull in to the parking lot, there's this guy, and he's pointing, and I'm going, am I supposed to be somewhere? I mean, am I, you know what I mean? Like, did I drive over, you know? I rolled down the window. What? Did I do something wrong? He goes, no, I'm talking to the guy in booth or whatever. And I went, okay, whatever. You know, I'm like, okay, one of those, you know. So I pull up to the pumps. I'm in Nancy's car, and I got Grady with me. And I thought, you know what? I have to prepay at the pump. So I prepay for it, and I locked the car. And I thought, I'm going to lock the car. Don't know why. I'm just going to lock the car. So this guy's circling around, and I'm the only one there at this point and there's 4 pumps, and he's mumbling stuff, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not scared, but my antenna's up. Pick up, the gas nozzle, select the thing, put it into my car. The guy walks up to the car and he's mumbling something, right? Now, I haven't started to pump yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. What are you saying? Bomb. Pardon? Bomb. Pardon? I want to blow up. Pardon? Takes his hand with a lighter right to the nozzle where the nozzle is in my car.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately I'm yanking it out, telling him to get the F away from me. What do you think you're doing? Da, 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 da. Well, and he just stands there. He goes, bomb, blow up. I'm like, are you crazy? No kidding. No kidding.
Did you at least call the police? I mean,
oh, 911. Yeah. So I'm on the phone with 911.
Mm-hmm.
They're short-staffed. We'll get to you. You are a priority call. I said, so you guys aren't rolling right now? She goes, nope. She goes, you are on it. And the funny thing is I hung around and there were a couple of people that pulled in and I said, whatever you do, for God's sake, do not pump gas. This guy is going to approach your car and he's going to put a lighter near your fuel and he's going to try and light it on fire. Sure as shit. And they're going, whoa. Firefighter comes in. He goes, buddy, go sit down on the curb. You just, go sit down. You're not right. You know what I mean? He finally got in his car and drove away. So I'm on the phone with 911. Must have been a slow day or must have been a stressful day. You choose. The operator, she's saying, describe him, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, oh, we've got a call in. Is he dark-skinned? I went, yep, he's dark-skinned, all right, Does he have any weapons? I go, no, I don't see any weapons. He's wearing a big bulky hoodie and I don't see anything that would suggest he's got a weapon, just a lighter. Did he light it? And I'm thinking, would I be fucking talking to you if he lit it? It would be a different conversation going on and there'd be massive phone calls coming in. She goes, I'm going to ask you a question. Is he drunk? I said, no, I don't think so. She goes, well, let me ask you one more question. Do you think he's mentally disturbed? And I said to her, well, he came up to my gas tank when I'm trying to pump gas with a lighter. I think that qualifies as mentally disturbed. She laughed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was that. So I tell that story on Ken's stream, right? And the boys there are, well, they said, I want to put him down, all this and that. And I said, that's not me. I'm not like that. Had he gone at my dog or started to do something on the car, that would have been a different story. But he didn't do anything, and it was like, I just don't. I guess the point of that is that we have to be aware of our surroundings now. Unfortunately, more than we ever have had to in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: he may not have looked like he had a weapon, but you don't know. If you go to clobber him for that, I mean, next thing you know, you might have a knife in your side. You just don't know.
And he's wearing bulky stuff. I don't know what's under the bulky stuff. You know what? I don't know. And the one thing that when I was here years ago, I took a civilian police academy, and they said the one thing that you do is the moment something happens is you out your voice volume goes 10 times louder, so you're drawing your attention to you for eyes on you. Right. And I thought there's enough cameras around here to say if something goes silly, there's enough cameras here at the Petro Canada that I'm covered.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I want to go down that path, but
yeah,
freaking wild.
That is definitely odd, especially I can understand that maybe in one of the big cities, but
it was a big city. It was Toronto.
Oh, you were in Toronto. Okay,
I was in Toronto. Yeah,
that's probably normal.
Wow. It's the first. I mean, you know how many times I filled a car up, and this is the first time it's ever happened to me.
Yeah. Well, Toronto is just weird. I know when I used to live in Scarborough, I remember one time I turned on the news and they're like, "Yeah, we're looking for somebody who shot a guy with a crossbow." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess that happens here." So it's just I've always found Toronto to be weird that way.
Yeah. Well, and Sophie says his lighter is the weapon if he lights it. Actually, Sophie, his lighter is a weapon regardless. It's with the intent to to do harm.
Mhm.
It would be like holding a gun, not firing it, not cocking the trigger, but just pointing a gun. It's still a weapon. It's a weapon that can still do damage, right?
Heck, even
So,
your fists are weapons in that case.
oh, anything's a weapon.
You know.
Anything's a weapon, and I've learned that. I've learned that the hard way through. And I've never gone to court or jail or anything like that over it. But
Well,
I've just, good lord, um, yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, no, there's some weird people out there. I've run
Yeah,
into quite a few of them myself. So I think
it
probably
is.
the scariest is I was walking home at night, country road, and there was a guy walking behind me and he was whispering some insanely crude things. So luckily I came upon a convenience store and I just walked into the convenience store and then waited there for about a half an hour. Then I left
Yeah.
again. So
I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. But
well,
anyway, that's
yeah,
that's
there's
that's what we're faced with, and I just
a lot of
I
sick puppies out there.
I'm a fairly trusting guy. I'm the type of guy that when I'm on my long walkabouts,
Mhm.
I will always to an approaching person, as I've said this before. I said, I will acknowledge them and say good afternoon, hello, how are you, whatever the case is. And there are some people that want absolutely nothing to do with you.
There are.
And that's a lot different than there when I grew up. And oh well, times have changed, and people, yeah,
Yeah. A lot of people keep to themselves nowadays. That's just the way the world is. But
sometimes it's better that way. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
yeah.
back to the state of affairs here. Um, there was one thing here I want to get your opinion on this, and it says that the economic stimulus should have stopped earlier to tame inflation. That is out of the mouths of the Bank
Mhm.
of Canada. What's your stick on that?
I mean, that to me, that's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, when you're printing all kinds of extra money, that's causing inflation. There's no way around it. It doesn't matter if it's stimulating the economy. The fact that the money supply is growing means that it's going to be worth less. So, yes, they did probably go way too far with the economic supports. But here's the other side of the coin is that there were a lot of legitimate people who did need those supports. But there were a lot of people who didn't need those supports who were getting supports. And I think what would have served us better is yes, they wanted to get the supports out quickly, but if they would have taken a little bit of extra time before they got the supports out just to get the proper checks, checks and bounds in place so that you didn't have the scammers taking money, you didn't have businesses pulling money that didn't qualify. Because that if we didn't pay all that out and all that money that was lost that way, it wouldn't be hurting as bad as it actually is.
What was the final bill? Do you know? Or not the final bill, but what are we at?
We were at quite a bit. I can't remember the exact number. I
Was
had
it
it, and I had
billions or trillions?
no. I don't think it didn't hit trillion. It was in the high billions though. But it's a lot of taxpayer money. It's just a lot of dilution of our money's value, and we're paying for it right now, and we're going to be looking at, even with the Bank of Canada up here on our side of the border, we're going to be looking at a lot of rate hikes.
Yep.
They're not going to stop.
No.
And
No.
here's the thing. I know a lot of people are sort of of that opinion that, well, as soon as they hit their goal, they're just going to stop right away. But they may not. They may push a little bit further just to make sure they have it. And I think there's a lot of banks that kind of want recessions to happen. A recession is part of the economic cycle. And sometimes we do have to go through it every so often. So
So
I,
you said something interesting there. Why would a bank potentially think it's a good thing to have a recession? What advantage? And it's an honest question. Is it to the bank?
well, if you think about the recession, there's a lot of different factors in a recession that are good for the bank. One, you've got the higher interest rates. Those are good for the bank. They're making money off of that. It also gives them a chance to sort of just clean everything out, because when you're looking at fractional reserve banking, you've got so much extra money. Everything is bloated, including what they have, the fractional reserve system. A recession basically is almost like a big reset. It comes in and it crunches down all that bloat. It makes it a lot easier to manage everything. the banks do take a hit on it. Don't get me wrong on that. And it does cause some pain on them, but it makes it much easier for them to go forward after the event. So that's one of the reasons that some of the central banks are more or less kind of, they're never going to come out and say we want a recession because, people think of a recession as being a bad thing. But a recession is a part of the economic cycle. We can't have booms without busts.
Right.
So that's one of those things. It's like, in a way, right now, if the governments try to fight off a recession and try to push it further away, all they're doing is making the pain longer. It's like almost like what we need to do is just jump into that recession. Let's get it over with. Let's get through it. Let's get on the other side, and we can go back into booms. We can go back into making some serious money.
Is it as, and I know I might be Pollyanna about this, but is it as simple as the government officially saying we're in a recession to kick this puppy off, to kick this party going?
Well, not so much in Canada. In Canada, we still need those negative GDP growth. We haven't gotten that yet. In the US, they could do it. They could technically say, yeah, we're in a recession. That's up to the Economic Bureau of Commerce. And they haven't called it yet. And I think that's because they don't want to call a recession until after the primaries, just because of how bad it sounds. So, yeah, in the US, they could just call it. They could, but they're not. Up here, we still need to go a little bit further before we push into it. But right now, we're at the point now that most of the banks are saying that, we're pretty much almost guaranteed that we're not having a soft landing, that we're going into a recession. I think I read today somebody I think on BNN on their live stream was saying that we're at about like a 99.9% chance of a recession now.
I don't know how we can't.
Well, it's just one of those things once again. But here's that thing. Once the U.S. officially calls their recession, I mean, even if we're not officially in a recession, we're kind of in it with them anyway, because we're so economically tied to the U.S. They are our largest trading partner. So whatever pain they feel, we feel. There's no way around that.
Will that domino affect the rest of the countries, you think?
Well, we're probably looking at a huge domino effect. I mean, we're looking at probably a world recession at this point. It's going to happen. I don't think there's anywhere or any place where we're not looking at a recession, though apparently maybe Ireland. But other than Ireland, Ireland, just for some reason, they've had crazy GDP increases. They're doing really well. But, and right now, I think, though, you've got to look at, too, right now, the economic pain is really about to hit hard on the rest of Europe with winter coming. And Russia right now, Russia's going a little bit crazy. I mean, just last night, they called up 300,000 people from their reserves to bring in more troops. And plus, they're rattling the nuclear saber again. And another interesting article. Now, take this one with a grain of salt, because I don't know 100% if it was more or less just propaganda. But it was stating that people in Poland, their government has started issuing iodine pills to people.
What?
Yeah, in Poland. Now, keep in mind, Poland is right near Ukraine. And if Putin were to just decide to use, let's just say, a tactical nuke or two on Ukraine, Poland, is close enough to, be concerned about radiation.
So what do you think the world will do if he does that?
We'd be in a real big pickle here. I think there's two scenarios. If he were to drop a tactical nuke on Ukraine and the fallout managed to just go west into Russia, opposed to affecting any NATO countries, I think that NATO would pretty much just sit back and condemn him and throw up more sanctions. However, if the fallout were to go into any of the NATO countries that surround Ukraine, those countries are going to be calling for, Russia's head. And the way the NATO alliance works, we're kind of obligated to do whatever, to declare war in a case like that.
But isn't Russia going to pull in Korea and China on their side?
Well, they could. They certainly could. I mean, they don't need to. If Russia decides that this is going to escalate into a full-on nuclear conflict, what you're going to see is there's Russian submarines, off of our coast, and they're just, there'll be missiles coming quickly. There's just no way around it if it gets to that point. And I think that's the thing. I think the West kind of understands the game. and they understand that they kind of have to, when you're dealing with the end of the world, you kind of have to give as much, give Putin a lot more rope than you would like to,
Mm.
because nobody, of course, nobody wants to see that, but it's just one of these things. Like, if you let him use one tactical nuke, does that mean he's going to use two the next time?
Yeah.
Um, it's a sad situation with the world, and I'm hoping that Putin is one person. I'm hoping this is what I would like to see. If he did use a tactical nuke in Ukraine, I would love to see the oligarchy in Russia just basically almost a little tiny civil war come in, remove Putin, and say, that's it. We're not going to end the world over you, because of your,
The problem is we don't know how much his military is loyal to him.
We don't. That's the thing. Nobody.
And
But here's the thing, though. When you're looking at the end of the world, your loyalty has to be really, really high. Because, I mean, if I was in the Russian military and I was being given orders that were going to end the world, I probably would say no. I'm not going to do it. You can shoot me if you want, but I'm not going to start World War III.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of these things. I mean, it's mostly, I think right now it's still propaganda. And hopefully Putin is not as deranged as some media tries to make him out to be.
Yeah.
But what I really think is, here's this thing. Right now we're in this situation where Ukraine keeps asking for more and more weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these weapons are coming from the US and from Canada, but they're not getting replenished.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. If there ever was a big war, all of a sudden the US going into this war is not as ready as they would be, because they would be down a lot of weapons. Like, if they send 5,000 anti-tank machines, or whatever you call those things,
Mm-hmm.
that means they have 5,000 less if there were a conflict. So in a way, Russia is slowly depleting some of the West with all these weapons coming into the Ukraine. All Russia is really losing is, some people and some of their stuff. But
well, there was that mass grave that they allegedly had come across, and that's that. Yeah.
I know it's I mean, it's kind of craziness. It's one of these things, like, I don't condone what Russia's doing to Ukraine, but at the same time, we have to figure out a way to end it without, the next 10 years, us just feeding, weapons to Ukraine just to keep on going.
Yeah.
And there comes a point too that, in a way, it's like the US is fighting a proxy war with Russia,
Mm-hmm.
via Ukraine. And, everybody knows this. Russia knows it. We know it. There could get a point, especially if Putin starts losing, or if ever some of these longer range missiles start going into Russia, there could become a point where Putin is just like, that's it, and that's when you might see something like a tactical nuke, or maybe a biological or chemical weapon being used.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little dicey over there, but
well, yeah, he every once in a while he kind of goes quiet, and then he gets out the bully, shorts and stuff, and he goes at it again, and what was it today? He said who was he threatening? He was threatening a country, saying, "You don't want to see this, like you don't." And it's like, I'm so surprised, and I mean, there's probably stuff that goes on in the back end, but I'm so surprised that there isn't teams in there going after this guy.
Yeah, well, we don't know what's happening in Russia.
No.
Every so often you do hear about some of the oligarchies going, apparently trying to convince him to step back a bit. But nobody really knows. I think the news is very tight-lipped in Russia. So it'll be interesting. It'll be one of these situations where, my gut says that this is just going to go on and on, right, at this point, and that they'll continue rattling the sabers. I I would like to think that we won't see a tactical nuke, but I think there's a chance we'll see a tactical nuke. But I think it'll just be a very small, it won't be a large nuke at all. It'll just be enough to sort of demonstrate and to kind of make the West sit back and go, oh, crap.
Yeah. I mean, it's the last thing. I mean, I don't know. I thought the supply chain was getting better, and then I went in and I started walking around. Or where was I? I went into Sport Check today because I was looking for a new pair of sneakers, running shoes, whatever you want to call it. And where else did I go? In another. And I said to them, I said, none of these colors. Now, I'm not a snob with colors and running shoes, but I said to them, give me walking shoes because I'm never going to run in those. I said, but you used to have like a wall of this stuff, right? And she goes, it's just supply chain issues. You just, you can't get it. And I said, still, eh? And she goes, yeah, it's still affecting us. The clothes seem to be plentiful, but they're just, you get into a store and there's some products and you're scratching your head going, wow, like I went into Fortino's today, and you don't have Fortino's down in Ottawa, but it's a chain just to sort of in the Oakville, Mississauga, Burlington, Hamilton region, and a grocery store. And I went in tonight, and it was like, where the hell's all the meat? Now, that could be because of staffing issues that can't, get it diced and packaged and put on the shelves. Or it could be an actual supply chain. Like I'm waiting to hear. I mean, obviously, Nance isn't here tonight and stuff, but I would be interested to hear because she normally will say, well, we got a shortage on chicken, or we have a shortage on this, and this is what's going to happen over the winter, and get ready. Well, turkeys. She said turkeys are going to be a problem.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So if any of you who are listening here like turkeys. Or either I don't know if the Americans do turkey, but for Thanksgiving.
Well, they do, yes, but their Thanksgiving, of course, is in November.
Right. So I would be going out, folks, and no, I thought they did to Kirk. What did they call it? A turkey stuff with this, stuff with that. What do you call those things?
What, a turkey?
Yeah, they've had oh my God, Phil, help me out here. What the hell do you call it?
A duck?
A turducken? No, I don't know.
Are you thinking of a tofurkey?
No. It's a turkey stuffed with a duck and stuffed with what the hell else is in there? Oh my God.
I guess if it's a big enough turkey, you can put a lot in there.
Yeah. And but anyway, for those of you, I would, if you've got the freezer space and stuff,
get your turkeys early.
While
they're still there.
We actually, for the past couple of years, whatever we've had to do turkey, we go to the butcher and we just get a turkey breast, and it is so much easier to clean. There's hardly any waste, and so
yeah, that's good.
No, it's not Cornish hen, Phil. It's a turducken, turducken. What the hell's it called? Oh my God! I swear to God, it's a real thing.
Well, you want to hear a funny thing? When I was a kid, whenever Thanksgiving rolled around in October, my mom would be like, it's Thanksgiving. And I'd be like, lies. Thanksgiving's in November. That's when it is on TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
duck and a chicken and a turkey.
I mean, America does have Columbus Day on our Thanksgiving. So our Thanksgiving is Columbus Day in the U.S.
Okay. Is that right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, we don't have anything on their Thanksgiving, but...
No.
Other than we're just getting ready for Black Friday at that point in the deals.
Well, I think once a month we're seeing Black Fridays. I mean, there's nothing special here.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see because, a month or so ago, remember that Amazon was laying off like 20%?
Yeah, they laid off quite a few.
So it'll be interesting to see if that comes back for the holiday season.
That'll be interesting to see. Yeah. I mean, one of the things with Amazon, Amazon had so much business over the pandemic because people couldn't spend their money anywhere else.
Yep.
But now, some people have been going back to the brick and mortar stores and taking their cash with them. And So that's affected, Amazon, Shopify, a lot of online retailers have been hit kind of by that. And that's...
I had a client who, I guess he was a supervisor for Home Depot up here.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking and stuff like that about, Home Depot. And I said, oh, hey, and I always say to the people, hey, I need something, get me a deal. And they go, we actually don't get deals. I said, what do you mean you don't get deals? He goes, nope, we don't get any preferential treatment. And what happens is that the psychology and philosophy of Home Depot is bring me the lowest price you can find and we'll beat it by 10%. That's our deal. And I went, oh, okay.
Okay.
But if you were to think about Home Depot, and those of you in the chat tonight, were to think about Home Depot and all the departments that it has, what do you think is the most profitable department in the Home Depot system?
Oh, that's a good...
I have an answer.
That's a good question. Now, a few months ago, I would have said lumber, but right now, I probably will go with housewares.
Housewares.
Yeah, like just your general house supplies, whether it be...
Nope, Sophie, it's not lumber.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
It's not housewares.
It's not housewares.
Nope, not bathroom.
Not bathroom. They're confectionery that they keep at the front racks. There's huge markup on stuff like that.
No, it's not paint, Sophie.
Not paint.
No.
I feel like I painted myself into a corner with this one.
Yeah, well, we'll brush it aside. No, the most profitable department in any Home Depot is their tool rental.
Tool rental? You can rent tools?
Oh, absolutely. You can do a front end loader with a little backhoe on it.
Well, that's technically not a tool, though. That's like renting a tractor.
Well, if you wanted to do the same
I'm just saying, rent a tractor.
No, but it's tool. No, they've got drills, they've got saws, they've got ladders, they've got everything you can possibly think of. Something to steam to take down your wallpaper. Drill. Oh yeah, it is their rental department. He says, you think about it, we make the one capital expense. And he says, for the amount of money that we spend out on that and the amount of time that puppy is out turning and burning, he goes, we have it paid off in 2-3 months sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, and I said, so what happens if they pooch it on you? He goes, we just buy a new one, but they pay for it. And it's like, oh my God.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is a pretty big, pretty good business model, if you think about it.
Well, Sophie's out in Victoria. I'm going to be out in Vancouver tomorrow, Sophie.
Well, you could probably make some money on a bike rental business in British Columbia. Well, at least Vancouver, Victoria, maybe Nanaimo.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where this stuff's going. I mean, it's discouraging to see the amount of taxes we're paying, and the more that, and I'm careful about how I phrase this, and I don't mean it with any disrespect, but I think the more we start to the government starts to dole money out, they got to get it in some form of tax, whether it's a direct or indirect hit on us. It's coming, and sometimes we don't even realize that it's there, And
oh yeah, there's a lot of hidden taxes.
I don't know whether it's just I'm more frugal with my money now, and I'm older, and it's just starting to piss me off more. When I was young, I was like, okay, I got whatever, and away I go, and that's it, But now it's just absolutely. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, I would much rather pay cash.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. The world has changed. I mean, you take somebody back in the 50s. One person in a household could go out and have a job, and that'd be enough to buy a house and a car and everything else. I mean, it's just not that way anymore. Money doesn't go very far.
Yep.
You kind of have to be frugal.
Yep.
And if you're not, you're going to be one of these people who is, struggling paycheck to paycheck and going to Money Mart and struggling with Money Mart and getting caught in these sort of negative tsunamis of negative cash flow that you just can't get out of.
Yep.
So you got to be frugal.
I know, and you know, it's every once in a while, it's not a bad idea to go back and to look, you know, to bring up your purchases under iTunes and to you know, take out your Visa bill. I don't know how many people will, you know, check their Visa bill every month or check their bank account every month and actually read it and say, okay, I remember this, I remember this. Where the hell did that come from? You know, and it's like, okay, that's where you're sort of becoming fiscally responsible. And I think it's a lot of us have to sort of remember to get back and do that. Like, I mean, I don't do it as much now because I'm not as worried about sort of, and I don't mean this in any arrogance or anything like that, but I'm not worried about money because back when the kids were home and the businesses were going and I had to make sure that everything was running in order, that, you know, the house of cards or whatever didn't fall.
Yeah.
I was on every morning checking my business bank account, my personal bank account, and I was going through and saying, no, we
Yeah,
don't
and
need this, get rid of it.
I think you and Nancy have also been doing some pretty good investment choices as well. So, you know, I think you guys are pretty much in a good spot to be at this point in time.
We're down. I looked at our investments today, our what we've got with Royal or Dominion Securities, and we're down.
Everybody's down.
Down. And it's just it's enough to make you go, what the hell? It would look so good 4 months ago, you know. It looks, well, not 4 months, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Keep in mind,
It looks so good.
Once we get on the other side of the recession, you'll start to gain some of that back.
Right.
You know, and then it will start to get, you will eventually get it all back. That's the way it works.
Yep.
You just have to be a little patient. The people who I feel bad for are these people who they see their investments go down 20, 30%, and they're like, oh my God, I can't lose any more. And they sell everything.
Yes.
You know,
yes. Because they never go back, because they're never going to go back in at that price. And depending on what it is, they trigger a taxable event.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you're in the negative, though, it's usually not a bad taxable event because you're normally, you know, you're creating a loss. You're not really creating a gain. So
depending on what they bought it at.
Well, yeah, it depends on where they're at. But normally if they see it in the negative, they're looking at the overall.
Yeah.
You know, compared to what their normal cost base is.
Yeah.
But it's one of these things. Now, I love to take a loss here and there just because I use it for tax purposes. Because my goal every year is to pay zero tax, and I like to do it that way.
You know, I remember what did you use last tax time for your crypto? Was it crypto tax or?
Well, last year,
or you did it yourself, right?
Yeah, no, I did everything myself. What I did last year to get rid of my taxes is our good friend over there at MicroStrategy. When Bitcoin was falling, I had jumped in on a bunch of that stock, and I wrote it down as much as I needed to, cashed it out to take the loss to wipe out all of my capital gains.
Yeah.
And then moved it to someplace else where it was, you know, in a good spot.
Yeah.
While it continued to sink, of course, because Bitcoin went to, went to Hades and
I think I said that wrong to you. I didn't mean to ask you what you personally did. I meant to ask you what program did you use? Like there was Coin Tracker and there was.
Well, I used Coinly for the simple reason that I have way too many numbers of transactions. So I used Coinly for my crypto. Then I used Wealthsimple Tax last year, and that worked out fine. But you know, I did everything myself, and you know, the different, like between Wealthsimple, it pulled in all the data there. Now I also have another account over at National Bank, and that data got pulled in there because I use National Bank for the day trading. So there's a lot of transactions over there. And it did all of the calculations for me. So it would give me it would basically, National Bank, for example, just sent a T4 or T4, well, their version of a T4 for that over to the CRA, and then Wealthsimple pulled that off the CRA. So it had everything calculated, you know, all the capital gains, capital losses, income gains, income losses. So I didn't have to manually balance any of it, which was fantastic because that would have taken 2 days.
It's Nancy phoning me. Does she not know what time it is?
You would think she would.
I've got to phone her and say, Jesus Christ, like, did you not real? I'm busy. I'm doing the show. Just a second here.
You should put her on speakerphone, and then
I don't know if I can do that.
Well, yeah. But yeah, that is kind of funny.
Well, no, the reason I brought that up is that I use Coinly, and I had set something up in CoinTracker. Now I don't know, I didn't go very far with CoinTracker, but I get a daily update from CoinTracker, and I look at this and I shake my head, going, there is no way I am plus 15% in my holdings in crypto. There is absolutely no way that any of us are going to be, if we
No,
let it ride from December to December of last year to this year, there's no way we're in the positive. No way.
no, I
It's
think
like, what
unless
the hell?
unless you're Ken, you're probably not going to have a lot of action this year in your crypto. I mean,
That
you know,
guy,
right
I
now
tell
the
you.
only action I will have, and I'll probably still have to use Coinly because of it, is because of all of that daily shaking on Shakepay, because those are all transactions. So, and that's the problem. Like importing it, I got two choices. I can either do it entirely by hand, and I might be able, actually, the fact that it's all just that, I probably can do it by hand. So I might do that part by hand. But if I don't want to, I'll just do it by Coinly, because I mean, Coinly only costs, it doesn't cost very much. I think last year it was like $20 or so just to do.
Yeah, it does go up in price for different things.
Yeah, well, it depends
Uh,
on the number of transactions. I think if you go past a certain number, then you have to pay a bit more.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. And it's a big jump. It's
it
a big
really
jump.
is. If you fall in that first tier, then it's pretty not so bad. And
Yeah.
if you're only doing shaking, like at ShakePay, you're probably going to fall in that first tier. But if you
Yeah.
were, you know, somebody like Ken, for example, who does a lot of buying and selling, you're probably going to be going into the higher tier in that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it'd be interesting to see what Ken is actually using as his, what software he's using to keep track of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love tax time just because.
Well, it's going to be interesting at the end of the year to I've been trying as best I can. I've got a blip of about 2 months where I don't have the data with my DCA as to what the actual price of Bitcoin was when I bought. I have all the other information of how many satoshis I bought, and it was for $10. Da, 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 da. So at the end of the year, I got to figure out some formula to figure out, what this looks like, right? Because it'll be quite interesting to see what that looks like.
Mhm.
And but I mean, I got a hold of Shakepay, and they just sent me a big spreadsheet with it all, and it was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You
They,
know,
I think, was it like sort of comma separated values that they sent you? Which, it's not so bad if all of it is like I said, if it's all just shaking. Now, in
yeah,
your case, though, you also have your DCAing because you've been doing that all year too.
yeah. I really I'm back to day one pretty much 4 days a week with Shake. It's the shaking. I'll be honest with you. It's like, fuck, I forgot it again. It's like I think I got up to 40, and then I just
That's okay. Yeah, it's been. I haven't actually. It's been about 90 days now since I've had a Tim Danter moment. So I'm like, ooh,
guess what's going to happen to you real soon.
a Tim Danter moment.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I look at it this way. I mean, it's nice. It's free satoshis, but
Yeah.
it's not going to, it's not going to pay for a lot because it's not a lot when you think about it. But here's the thing: once Bitcoin recovers, when we see days again, when we're up at 50, 60K, it'll be worth a lot more. The stuff we're
Yeah.
getting now, it'll look nicer.
Yep.
But here's that
Well,
thing: I don't think we're going to see 50, 60K for a while.
no.
Not until we get some regulation. We need some Bitcoin regulation because then you can start getting the pension funds on it, and that is going to be what'll drive Bitcoin up.
Why was Bitcoin just humming along tickety boo, and then all of a sudden it started to waffle? All of a sudden, when the government got their pinkies on it, and the financial institutions got their paws on it, how come they all of a sudden that happens? Now maybe it's just my view and my point of view, but and all of a sudden it all goes to shit.
Well, no, what happened like last week when we had that big pump and then we had the big dump? That was basically one thing. That was the price of the American dollar. Because the American dollar fell and Bitcoin goes the opposite direction. It went up. It did a nice big pump. And then when the next day, when basically the American dollar then went up through the roof, Bitcoin crashed. It was a massive crash.
Yeah,
But that was like also the S&P, and normally Bitcoin follows the S&P. But you got to remember, Bitcoin is based in U.S. dollars. So whatever way the U.S. dollar is moving, Bitcoin's moving in the opposite direction. Just That's just based on price point alone. Doesn't matter what the market is doing. You also have, of course, what the market is doing influencing the Bitcoin price. But these big giant jumps, when you see the dollar move like crazy, you're going to see Bitcoin do the opposite. So they'll either jump like crazy or they'll go up.
Yeah. Was the price tied to the US dollar? Like, I really didn't pay attention to Bitcoin until 2020. Prior to that, was it still affected like it is, like I see it today?
I mean,
was it affected?
It's been priced in the US dollar for a long time. So,
yeah,
you know, and that's the way anything is. You take even oil, when you're talking about how much you're paying a barrel of oil, you're talking about USD. So when the American price changes, so if the US dollar goes up, you start to get that same kind of situation with a price of oil. So it changes. Anything priced commodity wise is going to react that way too. And that's why Bitcoin, the SEC has even said Bitcoin is a commodity, even though they haven't put it, they've only said it, they haven't put it on paper. And it behaves that way. Most commodities will behave with that sort of inverse relationship to the price of the American dollar. Just
was it like that, tied to the US dollar, and it fluctuate and do the movements like you just explained back in 2018 too, and I just didn't realize it.
Yeah, it's been doing, like I said, it's been doing that for a long time. But keep in mind too that it's only recently that we've been having these massive swings in the price of the US dollar.
Right.
You know, and that was just kind of with the situation that's going on between inflation and interest, and that's going to cause a little bit. It's almost like a little bit of a ping pong game in a way.
Yeah.
But that's kind of one of those things. As an investor, if you see something that's starting to drive up the price of the American dollar, well, you know that Bitcoin's about to fall. You know, and vice versa. So it's one of these things. Like when I'm doing some of the day trading, for example, one of the things I do like to day trade is I like to day trade some oil stocks. And the reason I like day trading them is because I can, on one screen, I can have up basically the live chart for the WTI crude. And once I see the crude fall, I know the price of the thing I'm playing is about to fall. So it kind of gives me a tiny bit of a warning. And you don't usually have a lot of time to react. You probably have about 1 minute to 2 minutes to react. Once it plunges, then normally your asset's about to plunge. So then if that's a situation where it's like, if I'm in profit, I'm going to sell out of that asset and let it plunge and then buy it again back at the bottom and let it go back up.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the reasons I like that, because most times a lot of assets, you don't have that sort of that or canary in the coal mine type warning system. So, you know, and that saves my butt a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for the weak at heart to do.
No.
I mean, you've got to. I mean, you know, it's you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to know what you're looking for. You have to be, in all honesty, you do have to be somewhat educated to do it. It's not just dumb luck that you go in.
Well,
It's not going to the local craps table or to the blackjack
table. Give you an
table.
example. Yesterday, I started out, I tried to make a move, and it absolutely bombed first thing in the morning. So I started the day about $500 in the hole. And a lot of people, that would be enough to make them throw up their hands and just go, oh my God, I quit. And walk away. But not me. You know, I played the market. I just put that behind me. I made a lot of good trades after that. And I finished the day, you know, $417 to the plus. You know, but I had to fight back. Now, if I hadn't made that dumb move, the first move, you know, I would have probably had about $900, because this was a really good week for trading just because of all of the fear and uncertainty. Now, the rest of the week, it's probably not going to be so good. We're not going to get as much volatility. But, you know, I've done very well so far this week.
Is there a particular segment that in the stocks, whether it's fuels, whether it's transportation, you know, whatever the case is, that may be a good buy closer to the primaries or in the primaries if the primaries go soft or the wrong way for the Dems?
I think, well, okay, if you're talking just about overall investment,
Yeah.
probably going to be your oil. Like, as oil right now is down around $83 a barrel, this would be a good time to sort of stack up on some long term, because that price is going to go back up on the other side of the primaries. So that's oil. So I would say that's probably a safer bet when it comes to that. Everything else, if you're looking long term, because this is kind of the thing, we're in the situation where if you want to make short term money, Halloween's getting closer. Can you tell I'm already thinking about Egyptians? If you want to make short term money, you kind of have to be looking at swing trading or day trading, and it's highly, it's as risky as well. It's as risky as all can be. So I don't usually recommend it unless you sort of know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what I will even say is, if you're like, okay, I really am gung-ho, I want to do some day trading. Well, there's a lot of places where you can get sort of fake accounts, or you can just do it manually, where you're saying, okay, I'm going to pretend I did this much on here, and then you can sort of watch it and see how you would do in that day.
Yeah, they're called practice accounts.
Exactly, because then if all of a sudden you end up with $5,000 in the hole at the end of the day, you are not really 5,000. It's 5,000 imaginary money.
That's right.
So it's not going to hurt you. And then you can sort of realize where you make the mistakes. Because sometimes one of the trickiest places is that first trade. If you're trying to trade at the bell when it opens, because where everybody is putting their orders in, sometimes you may place an order in and it should be a good order, and you're watching the price go up, but it's taken forever for them to process that order. And by the time they process your order, you've got that peak that you wanted and it's already falling back down.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes it can fall down and turn it into a loss when you're thinking, oh my God, if it would have just done it as I wanted, it would have been a profit. So I tend to be very, very careful first thing in the morning, even if, I know, like if I think oil's going to drop big time, because I can already see it's dropped on, on the WTI chart, because that chart does run off hours.
Yep.
So I might be tempted to jump onto, like, for example, an inverse, like an oil inverse, and say, okay, let's just buy that before the bell hits. But you'd be surprised how many times you get to the bell and the price of oil just completely changes direction on you. And if you're in an inverse where you've got 2 times leverage on it, all of a sudden it's changed direction on you. You've just started your day off in a hole. And that's exactly how I got in that $500 hole.
Yeah.
Playing an inverse when, it should have done what I thought it was going to do. And it was just, it went up and then it fell like crazy. And it took like, for my order to actually be processed, it took almost 2 minutes. I was like, oh my God.
Is that long in
That's
stock
very
world?
long.
Really?
Most times if I have an order in first thing in the morning, usually within 15 to 30 seconds, it processes.
But if you're putting an order in at a price and you submit the order, does it
Problem is I'm submitting the order just before the market opens.
Oh.
And so are a lot of other people. So the brokers have to sort of process through all of those orders and get to you. You're in a lineup. And if there's a big lineup and you have no idea the size of the lineup, then your order doesn't get processed right away. So that's one of the things that makes it very dangerous first thing in the morning. So for new traders, I would usually say, don't even play the mornings. Wait until 9:45. Give the market about 15 minutes. Then go in, start looking at some volatile targets and see if you can see a pattern. Because normally it's not so much that you buy something at the bottom and you just, you wait for the day and then you buy it at the top at the end of the day. You're playing every single little triangle. So every up and down, every peak valley. So you're going up to the peak, selling, going down to the valley, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying. And a lot of times it's like, there's many days, like on a day like tomorrow, it'll be along the lines of where it's like, go up, make $20, buy, make $20, buy, make $20. So, it might only be $100 a day, depending on how the market is.
Are you going back to the same stock, or are you tinkering with a whole bunch of them?
I have a custom watch list that I use.
Okay.
Now I do tend to use one stock a lot, only because I'm very familiar with the way the stock moves. And that's a good thing if you understand that stock. And it's also a stock that usually when things do go wrong, I don't get burned a ton, which is good. So I like a moderate volatile stock. And, you know, I try to leave the inverses alone unless I see a clear indication that I'm going to make some money on it. You know, and that does happen. You know, Monday was a really good day. And it wasn't even with the inverses. I just played oil Monday all day because oil went up the whole day. Yeah. And Monday, when all was said and done, I had $1,000 in my pocket just from playing. And I played one stock the entire day, but it was going up and down really fast all day in an upward direction. And I was just buy, sell every 15, 20 minutes, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell.
Wow.
And, you know, it was just a really, really good day. You normally don't get days like that. So I'm like, when will I see another $1,000 day like that? Who knows? I don't know. But, you know, I think probably in the last month, I've seen 2 days that have been that good. But, you know, it's much better than having a boss and going into an office and actually working. Because, you know, I have if I have an insanely good day, you know, I'm pretty much making within a couple of days with minimal amount of work, what I would make, you know, at an average job for a week. So I'm like,
why would you do anything else?
Yeah. But I know that 85% of the people who do this do not make profits. You know, they usually can take them a couple of years to get themselves to the point where, you know, they're able to make consistent profits. So I'm very lucky, or it's just my ability to really, really capture pattern recognition is really helping.
So did you open a brokerage?
Oh, I'm not using a brokerage. I'm using an account over on National for that.
Okay.
Yeah. I know I have thought about starting to do some covered calls, but for the moment, I'm happy with what I'm doing. And here's the thing. Once I can make enough with YouTube, I'll probably not even do this because, you know, YouTube is my first priority. It's just, it doesn't pay the bills. So I have to pay the bills somehow.
Yeah. And you're close.
Oh yeah. Very close to that monetization. I can't.
It'll be this weekend.
I know. No, they actually made changes to monetization, but it's not the changes that everybody was expecting.
Yeah, you were saying that. It's like, God, of course. I get right at the finish line and they go, no, we're going to move the finish line down. We need.
But they didn't. Oh. They didn't move it. What they did is they basically said, now you still need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time or 15 million views of your shorts in 3 months.
15 million views?
15 million, yep.
What the F?
I know. I'm like, you're a banana bread. But what they are going to start doing, and this is probably not going to help you because none of this stuff takes effect until 2023. And you will be I'm sure you'll be monetized by then. But what
15 million views on my shorts?
Yeah. No, but you'll be monetized. You'll get I'm sure you've got the 4,000 hours already.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. You just need like, you know, less than 50 subs. So
yeah.
You know. So hey, anybody here who is here but not subbed to Tim, hit the sub right now. Let's get them up there.
Yeah, my God.
But yeah, I know you'll get there.
Well, so here's a question for you. You go over 1,000, right? Is there a plus minus? Is there how far over 1,000 do you have to be for the monetization to kick in?
Okay, so once you get to 1,000, they will send you an email. And that email is saying, okay, you've qualified, you can now apply. And that email will walk you through, because what you're going to do next is you're going to apply for AdSense, you know, and they're going to do a review of your channel. And it usually takes a couple of months once you get there before you start.
What?
Yes, I know. But I'm pretty sure they backdate it. But the Canadian Bitcoiners might know that because I know they're monetized. But I'm pretty sure that once you're approved and they go through the process, I think they might backdate it a little bit, but I'm not entirely 100% sure on that. But, you know, it'll be good to find out. And the
So
nice thing is,
if we dip below 1,000 subs, do we demonetize?
yes. So you want to get above 1,000 and you want to try to get at least a buffer.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the 4,000 hours of watch time, right? You have to maintain that 4,000 in a year, but that really isn't an issue. Trust me. I think you're fine. But here's that thing. And this is the thing. Like right now, brand new YouTubers, we're all obsessed about subs. Because of that whole, we need that 1,000 subs to get monetized. Because other than that, you know, like I look at it this way, I've put in I've done a full-time job for almost a year and got paid nothing for it. So, you know, you've got to put in that amount of dedication. But once you get past that 1,000, then all of a sudden you're no longer really thinking so much about the subs. Yeah, subs are nice, and yeah, it'd be nice to get the 100,000 sub plaque. But then you start to think more about the views, because that's where the cash comes in. So you can have a small YouTube channel, but if they get crazy amounts of views, they can make more just from that. And also, you know, if you approach somebody, for example, a sponsorship, then, you know, you can say, look, I know I don't have a lot of subs, but here's the amount of views I get. And that's what that's what advertisers or sponsors are interested in. How many eyeballs are going to be on, you know, on the promotion that you put through, whether whether you're approaching an ETF, you know, and that's the thing. And the big thing, of course, is, you know, you'll get inundated with, and you've already had a few supposed people who've contacted you that sounded very scammy.
I've stopped sending them to you because I'm starting to get more and more of them, and it's like, oh, please.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the other thing too, and this, I mean, not all YouTubers do it. I've seen YouTubers promote things that I think are very questionable. But when I start getting when I start getting sponsors, I will not sponsor something if I don't believe in it. Like, I'll do my own fundamental analysis. There's no way I'll make a video on something that is a dog's breakfast and try to tell you guys that this is the best opportunity ever. I will never, ever do that, because as far as I'm concerned, if I were to do that, if I were a viewer of me doing that, I would unsub. I would be gone, because it's like, no way. If somebody's going to start to feed me complete trash, and there's a lot, especially in the Bitcoin community, I've noticed there's a lot of American Bitcoiners that will do that. They will feed you any coin that wants to pay them, and they'll make it sound like it's the best coin in the world, and it's absolute garbage. So, and that's going to be the same thing. I'm going to hold my ideals, my standards. I don't care if somebody offers me $50,000 to promote something that's a piece of garbage. I'm going to tell them it's a piece of garbage. I'm not going to promote it. If you want to give me the $50,000 and let me make a video where I can tell them the truth about your product, that it's garbage, I'll do it. But and they're not going to say yes to that. And
no,
you know, and I've seen it that way. Now, there are some, you know, there's like some ETFs that I like, and those would be ETFs that I would be more than happy. You know, it's like, yeah, I'll do a full video for you. You know, and some of those ETFs, heck, all they really need to do is, you know, get one of their employees to sub to my channel and pretend to be a loyal sub and say, hey, can you do a video on that ETF? And I'd be like, sure, okay. So they could get it for free if they were smart.
It works.
Yeah. And MC wants to know, how do I trade so much in Canada? Well, all the trading I'm doing for day trading, MC, is done through National Bank. So I have National Bank has a brokerage account, and I'm in that brokerage account, and I use that for all of my trading.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's the way it goes. So I think, you know, it can be rewarding, but one of the things I always say, and I've had a few people ask on my channel about it, if you're over at my channel and you are interested in it, I do have a book I put up. It's basically Day Trading for Canadians for Dummies. It's a fantastic way to give you a general overview of day trading. So, you know, check that out if you are, you know, somebody who's thinking, oh, maybe I should get into this. I like the book because it's very easy to understand. And it really, really warns you about the dangers, which
Mhm.
is, to me, that's the big thing,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
you
yeah.
want to make sure you have the right psychology for it.
Oh yeah. 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 You can't. This is one thing that you have to be zero on emotions with.
Oh, absolutely.
Zero, because that is probably, and you've got to work. You've really got to, because we can get distracted. Like, although we're at work, we're not at work. We're
Mhm.
thinking about what's going on at home, or test results from a doctor, or what's for dinner, or I've got this presentation to do, or how am I going to do this. There's not a lot of people that I know. Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. It takes a lot of discipline to hollow that stuff out and just sort of go right down that line and say, okay, put the
Yeah.
blinders on, and here you go.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things. And I also don't like to leave. I don't like to leave anything on the table after hours. Like I cash out end of every day,
Hmm.
and then it sits there in cash, ready to be used next day. I'll usually transfer the profits over to the bank to pay for stuff. But
Yep.
other than that, if there's nothing to pay for, I might just let the profits ride, and then I have a little bit more to use next day. But
What are they? Are they? Is that unlimited?
is what unlimited?
National Bank, or are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
paying?
they're commission free. They're the only one that is commission free of the big six. Yeah, no, if it weren't commission free, I'd be doing it on Wealthsimple. The reason I do it, I think, on National Bank is I just find their interface a little bit more faster to use when it comes to making faster trades. And that's the reason I use them over Wealthsimple. All my personal investment, though, that's all in Wealthsimple. Well, as everybody knows, anybody who watched my video on Monday, they know everything I have over there. So,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. Well, this has been good. What do you got? What's topics coming out this week? Did you mention that already?
Yeah. Tomorrow is going to be Shopify.
Oh,
So, yeah, we're going to look at that. Saturday, I'm still either this Saturday or next Saturday, I'm going to do a quick little day trading video. So I haven't entirely made up my mind yet if it's going to be this Saturday or next. I'll do that. I have to make up my mind tomorrow, so because I have to get that scripted by Friday, and scripted by Friday, filmed by Friday, because it comes out Saturday morning at like
yeah,
9 a.m.
yeah.
Next week, well, I also got my live stream on the weekend and another video coming out on Monday. Monday's video is going to be on CDRs, so
Oh,
I'm going to start looking at American stocks that you can get through CDR.
okay.
That will be kind of funky. And then next Wednesday, hosting the show.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It looks like I can actually, well, mind you, 8 o'clock, and we land. Yeah, that's not going to work because we're going to be coming down in. We're
Well,
going to
keep in
be.
mind, you have
We're going to be
50 chance of getting there on time.
What?
WestJet and Air Canada statistics came out recently that says right now that their air flights have a 50-50 chance of being on time. And on time means within 15 minutes of the landing time.
Oh.
So flip a coin.
Well, so if I am in the air and I am able to purchase Wi-Fi, I'll pop on.
Awesome.
Other than that, folks, you're going to be in the very capable hands of Candace.
And I think
And
Gary's
just
going to be on.
who?
I think Gary said he was going to be
Gary.
on.
Yeah.
So.
And I think our guru. I was texting back and forth with our guru, and he might be available if that's what you want.
Which guru?
Tim.
Oh, the other Tim. Yeah, bring him on. If he wants to come on, we can do a crypto show. I'm okay. We'll actually do a crypto night in Canada.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I think
Tim's
he's got a lot.
available. Yeah, we can do.
He's got a lot to say. He's got a lot to say. I mean, he's always been the person who has been telling me Bitcoin's got to go down. Bitcoin's got to go down. And then all this other stuff we're looking at's going to rocket. And it's like, it's going down. It's going down. Oh, it's not down enough. It rallied again. It's like, damn it.
I know. It's one of those things.
Anyway, good things come to those who wait.
Absolutely.
if I win the $1 million, I'll still be here next week.
Well, technically, no, the week after. And you'll still be going to your yeah.
Right. Anyway, folks, everyone, thanks for tuning in.
Been a blast, everybody.
Tune in next week to see Candace, Jerry, jeez, I'm sorry, I'm tired.
Gary,
and potentially Tim on to do a little cryptonomics. Cryptonomics. And
I'll even hum the theme. You know, the dun 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 dun.
Oh, right. Okay. I was thinking cryptonomics doesn't have a theme. Yeah, I am tired. I'm not getting it. It's going over me. This is the time to come in for the hits on me now. It's because it's like yeah. So everyone have a good week, and we will. Well, Candace, we'll see you there next week. It's Mountain Finance. If you have not subbed, and click the like button and the notification bell for hers, please do. Please pass it on, because this is one person in our community who we want to support a lot. She is that close to where she needs to be for the next step in her YouTube journey. And
and plus you'll get to see that funky stream of me drinking. So
yeah,
and I am very silly. There will be a lot of insanely funny jokes and laughter that will probably sound like it's coming from an alien.
Well then.
Yeah.
And is this going to be left up online, or is it just a live stream and it's coming down?
I'll leave it. I'll leave it on. I'll leave it on because it's not on my main channel. It's going to be on my other channels, so it can stay there as long as it wants.
Cool. Well,
that way there people can check it out if they want to.
There you go. So the question is it once that we see you're at 1,000, or once YouTube verifies it?
No, once I hit 1,000, I then have to sort of figure out the schedule, because where I'm doing driving lessons in October, I want to make sure that I'm not drinking either within a couple of days, because I want to make sure my blood alcohol is absolutely at 0. So now it takes about 24 hours for that. So
it's our metabolism.
Exactly. So I'm going to have a 2-day buffer, but I think I'm going to hit it well before. Like my first driving lesson is on the 13th. So I think I'll probably have it'll probably happen like in the first week of October.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm getting close, I might even tentatively schedule it just to try to push people on. Like, here, come on. It's like, hey, does your mom have an account? Just go sneak on her computer and sub to me. She'll never know.
That's right. That's right.
Now, don't do that, anybody, because I would never solicit you that way. No. Seriously, that was a joke. It's actually against YouTube rules to do stuff like that. So yeah. So don't do that, folks.
And you've worked hard to get there. You want to keep it honest.
Absolutely. That's the thing.
You want a genuine hit, right?
Absolutely. It's like I want people who are interested in my content, not somebody who's just trying to get me to 1,000. It's like no, don't do that. If you like my content, sub. If you don't like my content, don't sub. Simple as that.
Oh, I did, just as we end this, I told you I did it's on TikTok, and it was a duet. So you play the clip, and then it comes to you to do a comment or to do reactions or to do whatever. And I think it's about 15 seconds or whatever the case is, or maybe 15 seconds. Anyway, I did this one that was already up on TikTok, right? And it's the queen, and I didn't do it out of disrespect. Someone else did it, and I thought, well, this is interesting. And she goes, I can now confirm I'm officially dead. And then she goes, and Charles, don't fuck it up, right? So I posted that because I saw an opportunity to make some humor, and it wasn't disrespectful. However, I must have got someone's goat, because the comment was basically, she said to me, it figures, you typical American. She called me an American, right? And I went, I didn't reply. I didn't get into it. I thought, whatever. And it's like, it wasn't disrespectful. I didn't make it. If it would be disrespectful if I had made it more than replaying it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about anything in social media. You're going to get people who are just negative troll people. You know, I'm actually really surprised I don't get very many of them.
No, neither do I.
I've had maybe 3 comments that I deleted for that reason, just for the people being hateful. Most of the things I'm deleting are these people saying, "Oh, you got to talk to Jimmy Jones. He's the best crypto person ever. He'll make you $1 billion."
Yeah.
Then I'm like,
those are a bit. Yeah, I'm not even. Yeah, I mean, it's.
The worst thing about those is if it comes in early on your video, it kills your average watch time, which makes it so that YouTube doesn't push your video out as much. It's like, you bastards.
Oh.
You know, so it's just horrible. But
just the one more before we go wants to know the name of the book.
2 ways to find it. Just go to YouTube. It's called Day Trading for Canadians for Dummies. Or if you want an easy link, just go over to my site, and it is in my extra info on any one of my videos. I actually updated all of the extra info going all the way back to my first video to make sure they're all the same.
Wow.
I know that was a pain.
That is a lot of work.
It is, but it was one of them situations where, you see, Amazon affiliates are really kind of finicky. If you don't sell enough books, they just boot you out, and then you got to reapply. So that's what happened to me. I got booted out, and I had to reapply, and they gave me all new affiliate links. And I'm like, oh, all my affiliate links are now garbage. So I had to go back and change every single one. So
yeah, Nancy gets that info. I don't think we've sold much because we really haven't been pushing it. We don't push stuff too much.
Well, it's not so much for pushing it. I mean, I look at it this way. It's like, I'll put the stuff down there because a lot of times people are like, for example, well, with Teddy was just asking me about that book. And it's like, okay, yeah, well, it is in my links. If somebody asks me about a book that's good that I don't have in my links, I'll throw out my links. I look at it as more of a convenience thing because I know I'm not going to make a lot of money on that. I mean, amazingly enough, the most money I've made from followers have been from my American followers who have emailed me gift cards, and I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
Wow.
And luckily, I actually found a way. I added an American address to my Amazon.com account, and because I added the American address, I can buy stuff on there and send it to my Canadian address as a gift. So I was able to, buy a couple of tops, and I'm like, oh, this is very cool because they have better clothes in the U.S., much more selection.
Oh.
So that's how that all worked out. I was just like, no, that was just one of my followers a couple of weeks ago. I was just like, I opened up my email, and it was like $100 American, just thank you for what you do. I'm like, holy banana bread.
Wow.
So I was like, very, very insanely grateful. When I accepted the gift card, there was a little chance where I could reply, and I was just like, thank you so much for supporting the channel. This really means a lot to me. And so it was really, really cool to see that. But once you get monetized, then you get much more avenues. For example, then you get like the super chat, and
right.
And that's the thing, like right now,
that's what Ryan was using, right? The super chat.
No. I think, a little bit. I mean,
yes, yeah, and the private what's the private members? No, private.
Well, yeah, you also get the memberships where people can, and then you can provide them with extra content. And there's also now a new thing coming up called a thank you, where if somebody's just like really appreciative, they can just say thank you, and they can donate you like $2 or something and say thank you for what you do. Where the super chats will come in is I mean, sure, I'll love being promoted, but when I someday get to a point where I have like 100,000 subscribers and I do a live stream and everything is moving by really, really fast, those will be the days where I can't even read everything because it'll be moving by so fast. And I will try to pick out. And in that case, then I'll be like, look, you know what? If you really want your question answered, do a super chat. And that's kind of the way I think a lot of YouTubers will do it. But right now, while everything is manageable, I try to answer everything I see. I also, even on my videos, I will reply. I reply in friggin' paragraphs still on my videos. It's like, you know, I'm not going to just say, somebody asks me a question, I'm not just going to hit, you know, heart it and go, and then move to the next one. I'm going to,
Oh,
you know,
I do.
no, I've actually had a couple times where somebody's asked me about a stock and I'm like, all right, well, I know a little bit about the stock, but I want to make sure my answer is correct. So I've taken like, you know, 15 minutes to go in and read through the fundamentals on the stock, then come back and answer in my question.
Wow.
And I think part of it too, and this may be a Nova Scotian thing, but I've always been of the whole mind that if somebody's going to take the time to write me out, you know, a response, I'm going to take the time to respond to it, and not just sort of go, yeah, hello, thank you, thank you
Right.
for your response.
Right.
You know, I'm just going to be like, you know, hey, and even if it is something where it's like, you know, thank you, I love your channel, I might reply something along the lines of, you know, hey, great. Thank you for coming. Have a great weekend if it's on the weekend, you know, just, you know, a little personal touch, because I try to treat everybody in the community.
Yeah, no, that's
way-
good. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. You'll get more of a genuine community for yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal. That's the goal. But I think
Well,
I pushed this video an extra 10 minutes because I went off on a
that's
tangent.
okay. That's all right. That's all right.
Oh,
Anyway, folks, this is it for good. We're going. Have a good night.
bye, everybody.